I mean, she just walked away from camera and the internet broke. Right? Hit tongue. I can't do that. Not that, I'm not going to try. I'm not going to try. I'm going to someday try.
That's it. Now I'm going to make you do this.
Yeah. Oh God, no. Then she'll tell me to do some reel and all. Yeah. She's always telling. Just when I let my guard down, she'll come and say, Siddharth, I'm like, yes. Come, let's do a reel. I'm like, no, I don't
He's
want.
done
Because I keep saying this, वो जो तुझसे पहले यहाँ तक नशीब था, उसे भी अपने खुदा होने का इतना ही यकीन था.
Correct.
Which is what this industry is all about. And you cannot start thinking that, you really are all that. Because for 20 years I hate to use this language, told I was too attractive for certain roles.
Well, she's heard that plenty of times, that you're too beautiful for certain roles.
So I ran away from it. She accepted it and became the most beautiful woman in the world. I think it's two different approaches.
Sidhu, this is bias, like times 10,000.
What? Why would your husband, who's going to live with you for the rest of your life, be biased?
Aditi and Siddharth, welcome to THR India.
Thank you, ma'am.
It is lovely to be sitting here at GG with you, and also lovely to have the two of you be our first guests on this new show. It's called The Power of Two. And it is our attempt to kind of understand how artists collaborate, whether it's personally, professionally, somewhere in between. Of course, you two got married last year, and we all participated via Instagram. We were all guests at your wedding. Such swooning, gorgeous pictures. So somebody once said that the first year of marriage is essentially two stones grinding against each other. Because बहुत friction होता है, right? Because the edges are not smoothened out. So if you get past the first year, then the edges fit together and it's all smooth sailing. Of course, that's not true. But what have the last few months been like for the two of you?
I think you should go first.
We've basically been living out of suitcases because that's anyway what we do, because that's what our work is all about. And then as Sid says, that we're so lucky we have 3 homes. So there's Hyderabad, which is where I'm from. There's Chennai, which is where he's from. And there's Bombay, which is where I live and work. And now Sid's working here as well. So we are literally living out of suitcases. And it's actually been a lot of fun. But I feel like for me, and I think he would agree with me, I've literally found my pixie soulmate, playmate, whatever it is. And it's a lot of fun. So there are some days where we want to throttle each other. But then that's normal.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely...
Who said anything about throttling anyone? This is the first time hearing about this.
That's right. He had no idea you felt that way.
I was just going to say that every day is a dream come true. So there's no real jagged edges, ma'am. It's just smooth sailing already. Except we don't have a map, so we don't know where the hell we're sailing. So, other than that, it's the same fun that we've had since the day we met. I'd like to believe that what I felt the first time that I felt it, I'm going to feel it till the day I die. And so that's how it is with us. So we have the same kind of ways of laughing together, eating together, traveling together, fighting, yelling at each other. Well, I yell and she will yell back. So, it's a question of, it's more of the same, please, if I can put it that way.
How lovely.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's lovely. Now, Aditi, you've been an actor for 17 years, right? Sringaram was 2007.
Yeah, except that I don't count that because I feel like that just happened to me and I didn't actually get into it then. So I would say that when I did Sudhir Sir's film is when I started. But you're right, I did start with Sringaram. But when I did Sudhir Sir's film, that's when I actually said, I want to be an actor. And it was there was agency and my decision to actually do it. Till then, I was just like being called for something, doing it because I was a dancer, whatever. Yeah. But yes, it's been a while. Sorry.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And for you, even longer. Boys was 2003. 2 years before that, 2001, you're assisting Manisa. You're both, of course, actors, but you're also a trained classical dancer, you also sing, Siddharth, you are also a producer, you're also an aspiring director. So between the two of you, in the three homes, there's a lot of cumulative experience around the arts. There's a lot of wisdom about what it takes, right, to be an artist. How do you think just this coming together is shaping you as artists right now? Do you think about that at all?
You go first.
I believe when we met, we were fully formed versions of ourselves. And that's one thing I really love about this friendship and relationship and marriage. And artistically also, it was not that we were at the beginning phase of discovering what makes us artists or what kind of art draws us to it. So, like you said, Addu is a trained dancer, and she also has an incredible eye for fine art. These are the two places that there is no overlap. There's a mutually exclusive. I dance and I don't get along, and I don't know anything about fine art.
You dance really well.
That's a wholly subjective conversation for another coffee shop. But primarily, I think apart from that, music is a huge common language for both of us. It's a love language for me to live my life, not just with Aditi. If without music, I don't think I'd be able to breathe. So since I was very young, I've always had music around me. For the last 25 years, I've had portable players with music that I've had with me all the time. I have a penchant for, Bluetooth speakers and headphones. So I'm constantly surrounding myself with music. And now that she's in my life and she brings a lot of music of her own. So yeah, there's a lot of the cliches, jugalbandi. There's a lot of, music that we share with each other. And I know that she knows me as an artist. And so it's very easy for her to maybe understand where I want to go with something and maybe help me with that conversation as well. And I would say the same for her as well. I know her very well as an artist. Now, acting is a whole other animal because acting is a super subjective medium. You can have an inanimate object used in the right context and it can perform better than most people with flesh and blood. So we've both kind of been working on our craft as actors. And I find it very comforting to be able to talk to her about what I'm thinking and how I'm planning to do things. And we don't do it all the time. We don't discuss everything that we do with each other. But when it happens, those discussions are very interesting. And so, yeah, the art overlaps where it should, but the art also exists and grows separately where it can. That's how we've kind of worked it so far, I think.
So it's very interesting to me that you said that you talk to each other about this, right? Because in my head, and I've said this before in interviews, my fantasy of two actors being together is actor on actor conversation the whole time. Like they'll sit across each other and have these deep conversations about craft and how do you do this, right?
We are chalk and cheese when it comes to process.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah,
How?
that she'll tell you.
So I actually enjoyed listening to what he said because it's nice to hear it like that. Like for me, my understanding of art, music, dance happened from the time I came out of my mother's womb, literally. Because my mother would put her tanpura to her womb and do her riyaz. So to me, the sound of the tanpura, the sound of her doing her riyaz, I started dance class with Leela Samson when I was all of 5 years old. So I don't know a life without any of it. And then because of Mani sir, his movies, etc., I get into the films and it's all kind of stumbling along and just, realizing that this is really where everything comes together for me and where I really feel like I can thrive as almost like a 5-year-old all the time because it's like Wonderland. And then when I find somebody like Sid, who is very much like me, but he approaches everything very differently. He studies a lot more. He talks about it a lot more. He's able to verbalize a lot of what he's thinking and how he's approaching certain things. And I'm completely the opposite because I don't know how to explain this, but I have done interviews with you before where I have to say I'm thinking aloud because I don't know. And I think the way that I am is that I prefer to not know.
So you're saying you're more instinctive?
Yes, which is very convenient to say sometimes, but I mean, there is no better way to explain it, because I come in there with it like absolutely clean, and I'm sure even somebody who's studying has to do that on set. But I think because I've sat in front of, say, Leela Akka, as a little child, and she has choreographed on me. It's literally like you're this vessel, and then you surrender to this process, and you come to it, whatever it is that you're doing, and your body and your mind and your heart and your soul and whatever, it sort of finds its way with the maker.
Yeah.
And I think I can't explain it in any other way, which is why I always say I seek experiences where I feel like a 5-year-old. And somewhere we also bond because we're very similar like that. But he's a nerdy 5-year-old and I'm a 5-year-old on a jungle gym. So it's
she's absolutely right.
Yeah.
What do you
Again,
mean when she
I'm going
says
to say
studies
this.
more?
I'm
matlab
going to
kya?
say this very simply, and
Huh.
I mean, it's not a question of a subject of debate in any way. Addu was born to be a performing artist. I wanted to be in this business since the age of 12, never as an actor.
Correct. You wanted
And
to
I
direct.
became an actor later.
Yeah.
And then I started saying I'm going to do this for a few years and then go do what I wanted to do. So when you say I'm an aspiring director, I'm probably India's longest aspiring director at this point in 25 years. So I've been saying I'm going to direct films since I was a kid.
Right.
So I don't think I was born to be an actor. At least I wasn't growing up to be an actor. So the reason I say this is, I wouldn't say instinctive versus studied, because those are not, according to me, mutually exclusive. You can be both and neither
Sure,
at the same time.
Yeah.
But it takes me a lot more preparation to get to where she can probably get faster with the right director and the right script. So for me, it is, I have to first understand what it is, and the distance between my real self and my alter ego is a proper journey which I need to find out how to make. And in her case, I believe it just happens much easier. I don't know how to explain it. So I think it's because like I said, she's a trained dancer. She's a bit of a savant when it comes to tonality and music, and her face and her eyes and her femininity. All of those things contribute specifically to her alter egos. In my case, it's not that. In my case, I have to make a journey from being this person to that person. And also, I don't want to be this person on screen. And my job as an actor, I believe, is to get paid to pretend to be somebody I am not. And so I have to first build that person in my head, understand who that person is, almost be able to hold that person's hand and then become that person. So somebody who's a cynic might see this and say, your performances don't look that transformative. That's also fine. It's a subjective medium. But I need to know I went there as an actor. And so I take that a lot more seriously. And when she says I study, I read and prepare and write notes and do a lot more. But when the camera rolls, I think Addu and Siddhu are very similar. Because that is an ethereal moment where any actor will tell you that they can't fully recall it later, but something happens.
Yeah.
There's an alchemy that happens. There's a symphony that plays. And at that moment, all the stuff I study, and all of my mentors and gurus have told me this, study all the time. And when it comes to it, forget what you study.
Yeah, same.
So that we both do. Yeah. I just study a lot more before I forget it.
I listen.
She listens, and when she gets there, when we get to that point, that ethereal space, I think we're very similar. I think a lot of actors will find common ground there.
Yeah.
In that moment between action and cut, because like Manisa always told us, once the camera rolls, it's forever.
That's right.
There's no going back after that.
That's right.
That's what I was brought up studying with my teacher. So yeah.
Leela used to tell me this when I was little. She used to say, you practice till you bleed, but when you are performing, don't show me how clever you are. Don't show me the mechanics of how you got to what you did and the technique of what you're doing. Then it's just your heart and that person's heart. And like at that time, I was just like, yeah, whatever.
No, it's
But
amazing
today,
how
like,
much that
yeah.
stuff stays with you when you
Yeah.
get to the right age and it all starts. Oh, that's what it means.
Yeah. Right.
And then working with
Yeah.
Manisa was like it was almost like the same feeling that I got again after. Yeah.
Well, given that you got into the movies because you wanted to be a Manisa heroine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a coincidence. The fact
I
that
manifested a
she became an
Maniratnam
actor
hero.
to become a Maniratnam heroine, and I came to films to work with Manisa to learn how to make films.
There you
So
go.
that's why that's
It
the
was meant
difference
to
between
be.
the two of us. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're
yeah.
Madras Talkies babies through and through, and we're very grateful, for that. that unbelievable, presence in our lives.
How lovely.
Yeah.
That's so lovely. Last year on our Actors Roundtable, we had Shabana Azmi to celebrate her 50 years.
Yeah.
And in December, her and Javed Saab, I think, hit 40 years. Yeah, it was their 40th wedding anniversary. So I was asking her that how does a personal relationship impact on craft? And she said that so much, right? She told us this great story about fire. And she said when she was first offered fire, she didn't know that she wanted to do it because, it's mid-90s. No one's really talking about same-sex love. And she talked to Javed Saab about it. And of course, they were also older. They came in as fully formed artists. They weren't starting out or young or whatever. But he said to her that, do you like this script? And she said, yes. And he said, can you defend the film? Because there will be controversy.
Yes.
And when there is controversy, will you be able to defend this film? And she said, yes. And he said, go do it. And she did. And that to me was so amazing that somebody in your life can help you get that sort of clarity.
Yes, it's really wonderful. I mean, again, that's a whole, they are very, very inspiring like that.
Yeah.
But for me, I love that I can speak to him about many things that possibly like I said, because my brain is very, very much, it's kind of wired differently in that way. So if I feel something or if I visualize myself in a certain situation or a certain story, I'm like, okay, I want to do it. But sometimes it really helps me to speak to him because he comes at it from another point of view. Also, his brain works like a director's. So he sees things differently. And sometimes he asks me questions, which I think it's important for me to answer for myself. And he'll never answer them for me, but I need to answer those for myself. And I think I really value that. And I would like to say that sometimes he thinks and sort of knows so much that I'm just like, just chill, breathe. It's cool.
No, like I said, I don't think like an actor. I don't have an actor's instincts when I live my life.
Yeah.
So when I watch a film, I'm not saying, damn, I want this role. Oh, how I wished I could look like this. I'm not even a mirror person. I don't know how I look right now. My makeup artist for 22 years just sees me. I say, is it okay? It's okay. You won't see me with a mirror. I've never looked in the mirror. Even now, but Addu is a mirror person. She's an actor. There's a big difference. And
no, I'm trying not to be a mirror person.
No, but I'm telling you, you have to see what you're showing the world.
That's right.
It's
It's your
part of your
tool.
craft.
Yeah.
There are
No, I
schools
don't
of
like to
acting
be
about
vain.
acting in front of a mirror.
I
don't
being
look because I don't think like that.
Yeah.
And so I would like to believe I think like an assistant director and a producer and a director. I won't say director because like I said, I'm still aspiring. So like an AD or a producer is how my brain is wired.
Yeah.
I'll even think like a musician before I think like an actor. So when we have conversations, she will not get an actor's response from me. She'll get my response. And I think she knows that as well.
Yeah.
And
Well, listen, for somebody who doesn't think like an actor, you're doing a damn good job.
Thank you. It means a lot to me because if I don't think I'm getting better or learning more and working on my craft every passing day, I wouldn't be an actor for this long because I've spent more than half my life doing this.
Yeah.
And I swore I wouldn't do this. So it's really tells you how much control I have over my life and my destiny. But having said that, I told myself in my 40s and going forward in my 50s, I'm only going to do a film and I've always said this to you earlier as well, if I don't want to do it, I won't do it. I only work in films because of two things.
Siddharth.
I love doing it
Yeah.
and I'm getting good at it. This is the two reasons I'm an actor. It's a very selfish profession for me.
No, I've read your interviews from Rang De Basanti.
Yeah.
And you were saying the same thing.
I have been saying the same thing for
I was
20 years.
amazed. I was like, my God, like at that time, this is not how people, it was like, I'm here to make a career. There was a sort of more naked ambition to it.
Yeah.
And you were saying, no, but I don't want to do.
No, and I also said I don't want to be a star. I want to be called an actor.
Yeah.
Because I'm not comfortable with stardom from the beginning till now. I don't understand it. And so it's never been on my vision board. And being a better actor every day is definitely on my vision board. Because it means, you have, even if you leave grass, it'll grow, right? So nothing stops us from making an effort to grow.
Yeah.
And so that I keep working on.
Yeah.
We're the opposite in that also.
What do you mean?
He hates attention and, I love it. I love to be loved. And I love to give all the love. And he's like hiding somewhere. And I'm like, oh, come. Yes. Come on. I really
Like I said, we've
I
both
love the
taken our own
fame.
journeys to get here. So it took me almost 7-8 years after becoming a star to actually not have anxiety and PTSD when people would come up and speak to me, because nobody in the history of my family has ever experienced it.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy it. And I've been told, you can't be ungrateful. I'm like, it's a mental health situation. It's not about gratitude. If something gives you, your stomach churns, you shouldn't dismiss it just because you're supposed to be grateful for the fame. So I am grateful. These are two different conversations. But it took me a long time to get used to that attention. And even now, I'm still an idealist, and I don't know any other way to be. So when it comes to, people getting into your personal space when you're not there for work, right? So now I'm here to work. You've called me, we're having a conversation. So I'm in work mode.
Yeah.
But if I'm bringing my kittens from their distemper shot and I'm suddenly being photographed, I get very confused. I'm like, why are you doing this? I didn't consent to this.
Right.
So it's very problematic for me, and I'm working on it. And, at the same time, I do believe in doing the right thing. So I will fight, I will resist. And she's more of serenity now and a love everyone's space kind of person. And so we'll have those may be the jagged edges you referred to in the first part of the questions, right?
Did you just say I love fame?
I love it.
And why
It's so
not?
much fun. I really love it. But having said that, I also love my work. So
Yeah.
it's not like, so I always ask myself, why, what is it that I love about this so much? And that's very clear. It's not the trappings. It is the work. It is being on set. I love the camera. I love to surrender to a director that I love. So that is number one. But I'm happy with the trappings also. Sometimes it can be a lot, but I always look at the bright side and I'm like, but actually I love this. So it's fine.
Yeah. So when there are two actors in a marriage, what are the rules of engagement? Like, are there any, I don't know, like dining table is like a no phone zone, so it's also a no shop talk zone. Are there any demarcations, or is it all work, life, everything flows into each other?
So I am more addicted to my phone than Sidhu is, for sure. I can be doom scrolling quite often, but I'm trying to be better about it because I don't want to be like that. I want to be like this. So,
I think for me individually, again, like I said, I have an affliction as a result of my idealism, which is that I don't filter ever in front of anyone.
Little
I don't
extra,
filter.
no filter.
So I have no filter. I've never had it because it also comes from, there should be no reason to be a different person in front of different people. I live without fear. I don't believe in fake status quo. So I just don't filter. So the question of me holding back, poor thing, in her case is never going to happen. But having said that, we don't have rules of engagement as you put it, but we are definitely getting even better at realizing that when we've had an eventful day, we will come back and talk about it. And sometimes the other person will be half asleep, and also vice versa. And we will still pull through that because we know that the excitement of something that happened today, like for me, it will be something as geeky as seeing somebody in the airport from a distance and saying, oh my God. And I don't go up to people and speak to them because I don't want people to do it to me, so I don't do it to other people. But I'm just from a distance having these imaginary conversations, and I'll come back and say, do you know this? And she'll be like, yeah, I know you had I'm going to stay awake and let you finish because I know it's important. And then she'll fall asleep. But I'll wake her up and finish my story, and it happens the other way around. So I think we've become much more sensitive to that. We really want to share this.
Yeah.
It's that. And
Yeah.
I think it's still on stuff that makes us really, really happy. So we both have different things that, have our happy triggers, right?
Yeah.
So we are there to listen to it. But I don't think there's a thou shalt not kind of stuff in
Yeah.
the
Or
house.
even like
I personally don't like her being on the phone when we're watching a film because, again, I'm a bit of it's really
that's sacred, no?
It
Yeah,
hurts,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's why I said
I
he's
feel
a
you.
real cinema baby, and
It
I'm like,
hurts.
just take me to
Like,
set.
I will not have a
Bus.
phone. I don't use my phone these days. I only use it to avoid people, and I don't do anything else on it. I'm not on
But
social
the
media.
movies during which I take out my phone, that's a telling situation. Let's just say he'll watch anything.
Yeah,
Really?
I'm like,
I will watch
I'm checking out. Bye.
it.
Me too.
I will watch.
I'm connecting with you on this.
You all are like,
Yeah, because we come from a film appreciation
see,
background.
I just want to be on a set. Thanks.
Yeah, because I used to worship Barry
In front of a
Norman
camera.
when he used to do the
Oh my
films. I've read his
God.
autobiography 100 times
Oh
before
my
I turned 21.
God. Yeah.
And I
The
started
ultimate film
watching
critic,
Premier League
yeah.
football because of the team he supported. It's all very silly. But because he appreciated films the way he did and spoke about it the way he did, it taught me how to understand and speak about film.
Yeah.
At the time, I wanted to go to film school and study writing and direction. And 25 years later, here we are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
See, now this is telling. No? I just want like a close-up camera and like want to be on a set. I'm like, I don't want all this.
That's it.
No, but I also relate to you when it comes to having a no filter partner. You know,
I'm
I
so
live-
happy I'm being compared to Vidusa in this conversation. Please.
I live with
More
Mr.
of
No
this,
Filter.
please. More of this.
I
This
love
got
him.
compared to the director of Parinda. I have had worse days, guys. Come on. This is a good one.
But you know, it's the spouses in the background going, no, stop. I mean, it's just, what are you gonna do? You can't do much. You can't do much. Tell me, what do you admire about each other as actors? Like when you see each other on screen, is there like a moment where you say, wow, that was great. Like, I wish I could do it like that.
My favorite and my least favorite thing about Addu is the same thing. I told you she has almost a savant-like understanding of musical tonality. She has something very similar with cinematic beauty. So while she is able to understand beauty and what makes something cinematically beautiful, I think she's able to do it. And when she does her performances, like what she did in Jubilee with Motwane and what she did with Bansali sir on Hira Mandi, is so precise and so beautiful.
But that's the director, not
I'm
me.
blown away. No, that's also your understanding of what they're saying to you. And you both are, going on a huge leap of trust to achieve that. I mean, she just walked away from camera and the internet broke. Right? Dhitang. I can't do that. Not that, I'm not going to try. I'm not going to try. I'm going to someday try.
That's it. Now I'm going to make you do this.
Yeah. Oh God, no. Then she'll let me do some reel and all. Yeah. She's always telling. Just when I let my guard down, she'll come and say, Siddharth, I'm like, yes. Come, let's do a reel. I'm like, no, I don't
He's
want.
done one. What? Let's do
And
it.
then I talk a lot, so I make a lot of jokes. I would have just made a joke, and she'll say, oh my God, do that again. I'm like, what do you mean do that again? No, I have to record it. Why? I would send it to all of my friends.
He's my entertainment channel.
There you go.
No, and I've had our friends come and say, we should have a camera around you all the time. I'm like, that's not at all reassuring. It's very scary that you people think like
It's a compliment.
Anyway, coming back to this, so my
It
favorite
is.
thing about her is her ability to become that unattainable precision of grace and beauty and femininity on screen, which she does. I find it amazing. That's
It
my
has nothing to
favorite
do with
thing.
me.
What is she talking about?
Yeah. How can you say that?
Well,
How lovely.
thank you.
I really do. I
Yeah,
did.
thank you.
That's
That's
what
the
I saw
writer's house.
Jubilee.
Thank
When I
you.
saw Jubilee, when I saw Hira Mandi, they both on set. When she cries and when she's being vulnerable, it's very hard for me to watch, right? Because
Really?
in the end, I just feel really like the end of Hira Mandi, I was just bawling when Bibojan meets her fate and she shouts in club, I'm just dying. And her eyes, I was like, oh my God, you became Joan of Arc. How did you do that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
similarly in Jubilee, when she's doing her little drinking and talking about, I was just very taken by that level of precision and achievement of performance on screen.
Yeah.
My aspiration as an actor is not to be noticed in the frame. It should be melting into the furniture. That's my, that's what I'm trying to explain. I told you. So for me, it is the writer creates the furniture and the director executes it. And the actor just goes and becomes a part of it. And if the writer and the director want the actor to get applause or be called beautiful or be called any adjective, then if they all work together correctly, the actor will achieve that. That's how I approach my craft. And I've already said controversially in an interview, please don't clap when you see me on screen. It doesn't make sense to me. I want you to
I'm
clap
dead.
only if the writer and director want you to clap.
Right.
I want you to find me attractive only if the writer and director want you to be called attractive. Because for 20 years, I hate to use this language, told I was too attractive for certain roles.
Well,
But what does that
she's heard
mean?
that plenty of times, that you're too beautiful for certain roles.
Yeah. So I ran away from it. She accepted it and became the most beautiful woman in the world. I think it's two different approaches.
Now, this is bias, like times 10,000.
What? Why would your husband, who's going to live with you for the rest of your life, be biased?
Okay, what do you like about his performance?
I find, so I've worked with him.
Mahasamudram,
Yes.
2021.
Of course, I've seen a lot of his films, and especially like this Yuva. I can't say the Tamil.
Either. You just have to say, are you the eighth? And it will sound the same.
Either.
Correct.
As a Manisa girl, I should be able to say.
Yeah.
Okay. So that one, I've seen Boys. I've seen quite a lot of his movies. But working with him, I think showed me something that I really, really valued as a co-star, as an actor, and he's very, very present. And he works, he works like a team. So for him, it's the film. Right? And what he said is exactly what I think. I mean, he said it very nicely, and I was like, that's exactly what I find really, really admirable. That for him, he said furniture, but I mean, I don't take it as that. But I believe that for him, it's the scene, it's the entirety, it's the emotion, what the director wants to bring out, and it's not that the actor should stand out and the actor should be, like you do these. What are those scenes where you're just clapping just because an actor emerged from, what are they called?
Hero introductions?
Yeah, introduction, but they called something, right?
Okay.
Whatever. So it's not about that. It's about the 360. And I think as he's a very, very giving actor and a very present actor. And that to understand that totality of what it is and what filmmaking is and what it is that you're trying to do with that story, I think it's really wonderful that somebody can put themselves and their ego aside and completely give in to that. I think that's really beautiful. And I really admire that.
Do you actively look for work that you can do together? Because you've done the one film, right? Is this something that would interest you, or if a script happens to come, it will?
I think it's quite convenient for us at this point that just like we have 3 homes, we have many places where this synergy can happen.
Yeah.
Right? So I live, produce, and make a primary living out of Chennai. And she lives and works out of Bombay. So I come to Bombay either when I'm working in Bombay or when I'm not doing any work anywhere else, I'm with my wife. And I don't actively think of doing scripts together, doing this, because like I said, I'm a fully formed working actor for 20 years. I'm going to do the same kind of aspirational ambition building that I've done all my life. When I read a script, first question, do I want to see this film in cinemas? Second question, will this role, I suit this role, will this role suit me? And third, do I get anything to learn? This is my mantra. I'm never going to say, will Addu and I get to be in this film? That's not part of my worldview at all. So I would have to honestly say no, I don't think of it like that. Having said that, if there's a script as a producer that I read and I say, oh my God, this is an Aditi Rao Hydari performance, then I'm so glad that I get, first right of refusal on that from her. So it's great.
And what are the rules of engagement when it comes to critiquing each other? Because obviously you're each other's cheerleaders, but there has to be stuff that you perhaps didn't work for you, right?
No, I seem like the gentler one in this regard, but actually I'm the one who's really, really, I'm quite...
Brutal?
No, because my manner is not
imagine brutal and passive aggressive at a baby.
Shut up, Sidhu.
No, seriously. Without saying
Can I whack
anything,
him
she can be brutal without saying anything. It just that's it. I'm like, what happened? What did I do? What is wrong? Oh God, it's like that.
Like for example,
I get very worked up because there are people like her who don't use many words, and that is the good, bad, and ugly about them. It's damn scary. People like me, blah, 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 blah. There's no mystery left.
Correct.
So I will verbalize exactly what I'm thinking.
And what do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah. What's the critique?
See, Sidhu, see how she'll so sweetly tell you that, see, if you're the kind of person who likes, like bad kind of thing, then this is fine. But, I come from a background. What? What are you trying to say, woman? Write it and leave in triplicate. Like, so bad.
Exaggeration max.
No, she actually says something with a big smile. See, if you like pedestrian stuff.
What rubbish?
What?
No.
Pedestrian is a very offensive word. I am a pedestrian. But still.
I have never said that. Sidhu, look at my state. I have never said that. Shut up, Sidhu. Your exaggeration
look at your reaction. Your skin has changed
camera.
color because I've just told you the truth. This is a courtroom scene. Admit it. So even with musical tonality, for example, I'm nearing singing my 30th song as a playback singer. So I've been doing this for some time, and I'm constantly working on my instrument there
Where can
as well.
I hide?
So when she hears a scratch or a first recording, unmixed, unleveled, she will just tell you what she doesn't like about it. Now here's the thing. In many cases, she might even be right. I'll give her that. But there is also performance singing, which is not trying to be perfectly in sur like a Shruti box, right? That ma'am can't take. She's a fascist when it comes to even slightly performative, singing,
Right.
which is not pitch perfect because ma'am doesn't know how to sing off pitch. Even if you torture her, she can't sing off pitch. It's a disease. So, she'll do them like, what?
Yeah, I have to control my reaction.
What about his critiquing? What are you like?
He's much more balanced. Milder, much more balanced. But he gets very involved in what he's talking about because he's passionate like that. I'm very like, this is not okay. This is me. He's very like, it's almost like, what is happening over here? What do you, there's so much in there. What exactly are you saying? But it's much kinder. Much kinder.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
There's no aggression, passive or active in my critiquing.
Excuse me, Amazon.
I'm being academic in
my.
I'm very, very thorough and academic, and I'm very, I
Yeah.
said, I verbalize
But that's why I
exactly
said,
what I
I'm
want
like,
to say.
what are you trying to say? There are too many words in you. Just tell me.
See, then that's what I'm saying.
Yay or nay or whatever it is.
Right?
That's what you
See, but
want.
there are the greatest artists of all time, Mr. A.R. Rahman, Mr. Mani Ratnam. They don't speak that much, but
I
they still
love it.
communicate what they're trying to
Love.
say. Now, come on, neither am I as talented nor am I as brief. I don't know how to do this. I'm less talented and I speak more. It's just who I am.
They're very talented.
Thank you. Oh, so sweet.
Tell me about handling lows, right? Because it's a brutal business, right? It can bruise your soul very badly.
Yes.
And artists are by nature fragile. How do you handle that? Because now there's 2 careers being judged by the last Friday, being, just the highs and lows of
Ma'am,
the
I
thing.
told her that I will happily be the stay-at-home cat and dog dad and she can win all the bread she wants. She said, no. So please,
Why should I?
as a feminist, I was
Only me.
appalled. And then I said, fine. So now we have
I'll
to
work
worry.
too.
Now we have to worry about the longevity of my career. But having said that, I'm a very, very content and secure person. I don't have any fear. So if you tell me tomorrow morning, nobody will ever want to make a film with me again, I'm not going to lose sleep over it tonight. And I genuinely mean that.
So flops se kuch
So
nahi hota.
happiness is happiness, lack of happiness is lack of happiness. I only focus on waking up happy and going to sleep happy. The rest of it, from my first film, I've told my parents I wear grease paint for a living. I'm a film actor now. When I come home, I will take off my outside world like a pair of slippers and come into my house. The way we go into a temple or the way we go into a studio. That's how I've lived my life even now. I make sure it doesn't come inside my house because at the end of the day, there is work-life balance. And I am very good at that.
Really?
Very good
Yeah,
at that.
he's
Because I genuinely like
Wow.
being at home.
And disconnected from the noise.
Totally.
Yeah, he'll go and make his music. He'll do
Totally.
Like
I can do days
he
without
cooks really
communicating with
well.
anybody from the
Yeah.
film industry.
You cook too?
Yes.
very well. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. Really.
And when I'm in Bombay, I cook a lot more. Because when I'm in Chennai, when my mom's taking care of my food, when I'm here, I'm cooking for all of our friends. So I've spent a lot of time in the kitchen in Bombay.
The other thing that Shabana said was that her and Javed Saab don't believe in each other's myths.
Each other's
Myths.
myths.
And I thought that was just so lovely.
I love
We keep telling it to each other. We don't
Yeah.
believe our own myths also. Because I keep saying this, वो जो तुझसे पहले यहाँ तख्त नशी था, उसे भी अपने खुदा होने का इतना ही यकीन था.
Correct.
Which is what this industry is all about. And you cannot start thinking that, you really are all that.
Yeah.
And if you buy it yourself, I think that's part of the delusion. If you buy it for another person, I think you've fallen off the edge. I think in our case, we keep not just ourselves grounded, but also each other.
I think we also have families and friends who kind of just, they're very real with us. And at least my family, they're not big film watchers. So most of the time, they don't know what's happening. And I'm Addu at home. And I have to go and put my plate back in the kitchen.
Yes, and
It's
we
fine.
also come from a position of gratitude, not
Yeah.
for the adulation of the people,
Yeah.
but to remind ourselves where we came from. If today a film appreciator tells us that you are amongst the top 100 actors in India or top 1,000 actors, whatever people find acceptable as a denomination, the industry and the way it runs is tuned to constantly ask you, what are the other 99 doing? And how are they taking your destiny away from you? How has your justice been denied? My education and my upbringing has been to always remember where I came from, where I said I would go, where I said I would not go. Because like you said, 20 years ago, I was a very clearly spoken, whether you call it brash or clearly, that depends on perspective. Same person. So for me, I always remind myself where I came from. I have not forgotten any of it. And I always remind myself where I said I would go and where I said I won't go. Because there's no right and wrong. It's only what you choose to go towards or not gravitate towards. And I then feel grateful that I know the people who we've referenced as our gurus and mentors. I know these people. These people know me. So for me, when I met SLB sir for the first time, I've been a fan my whole life. And when he said he knows who I am, that itself was like, oh my God. Now that might not be something that makes another person sleep better at night. It made me sleep way better.
Yeah.
I get a phone call from Rahman sir and he talks to me and I'm like, I put the phone on like, oh my God, yeah, Rahman sir speaks to me. It means something to me because I was a boy who came here.
Yeah.
You know, I had the audio cassette of Roja and the first CD of Roja, which it was so scratched up after the number of times we'd heard it.
For all of us.
For all of us, right? And Mani Ratnam and Kamal Hassan and A.R. Rahman. And I've worked with so many doyens. I've worked with Amir on a film in Hindi. And, you know, that was a great experience. I've worked with Akinini Nageshwara Garu in Telugu. I've worked with Sirivenal Sittarama Sastry as a lyricist. I've had S.P. Balasubramanian sir sing my song. I mean, come on. So I always get my highs, not getting nostalgic or patting myself on the back and saying, don't worry. It's just never forgetting the stuff that you're really grateful for. And that's what I'm grateful for. So no result or no present continuous is going to be spoiled by any past perfect or any future tense in my life.
But I also, you know, what you just said is something that Sudhir sir said to me when I was doing Ye Sali Zindagi. And so whenever he walked in to wherever we were, I would always get up. But that's ingrained in you, right? So he said, she's a very good girl, but one day she'll become a star and she'll forget to get up. And the next film that I did with him, I forgot all this. So I got up again when he walked in and he took me to the DOP and he said, I lost my bet. And I remember he said, the day you believe your own myth, that's the day you stop being an artist and you stop learning. And it's exactly what you said. And maybe at the beginning when you're, starting out, it doesn't quite make sense to you, but it does make sense to you after some time. And also this whole thing of, what Sid said about, being part of the furniture, whatever, even though I come at it differently. But
She's not letting go of my furniture.
Yeah, because I'm just like, oh my God, did you just say that? Wow, I don't want to be furniture. but I'm joking. But I do believe, and I remember, like when you're in a classroom or you're dancing together. And sometimes, when people come and watch and they pick you out for whatever reason or on screen, there's a reason why you are in a particular place or whatever it is. That quality or what makes somebody's eye go to you, it has a lot to do with everybody. Of course, everybody working together. Of course, there is you as well and something that you come with. Yeah. But it is something that is not it's inexplicable actually, and it's an ephemeral quality that you really can't keep recreating. It's what happens around you, and what as artists we do is just be present and really just surrender without ego and surrender to the artistry of what we are doing. And I think that's what maybe keeps us sort of always excited.
And that's the high, right?
That's the high.
Yeah,
it's not all the other stuff. Yeah. That's exciting too. But it's not that.
Yeah. Let's be clear. Fame is fun.
A lot. Very
Fame
much.
is essential. Yes.
Okay, one last question. What is your favorite performance of each other's?
100% Chitta for him.
He was so good.
My God. Like gut-wrenchingly beautiful and so so pure and so lovely. Yeah, 100%.
Thank you. It always is special when anybody references that film because, like, you know why. I mean, just what it taught us, what it made us want to do in the future. And I've always said a performance is something that, for me as an actor, it should help writers and directors and me find a meeting room to do work that I hope to do in future. So it literally is your CV, it literally is your calling card.
But I also want to say, like, for me, because I was there through the process of it, it's also Sidhu. Like, all the choices that were made and the sensitivity and the fact that a lot of agency was given to the women, that really comes from him. And I'm like, he's in the room, but it is really true. Like, it really comes from him and just the person that he is. And what I said, like, he's very giving. And it's really about teamwork. And that scene where he sees the mother talk to the child about...
Broke me. Just broke me.
And it's so honest and so beautiful. Yeah.
That's the scene that really
Yeah.
lodged itself in my heart.
I really hope the next 18 months, which are going to see the work that happened to me post Chitta, which is what would prove the point I made earlier. I hope that in our next conversation that, those films that every subsequent film you do is referenced, at least in terms of intent and honesty. Because that's all I can bring to it. Like I said, the other end of the consumption and appraisal spectrum is not in my control. But yes, the last 10 years have been very tough because I had shifted homes, I shifted industries, I started again from scratch in Chennai, and I started producing my own films at a time when I just wanted to give up and do something else. I wasn't having fun because you can only do the work that comes to you. Then that's why I started producing, so I could start creating some work myself and put out the right messages to the universe. And I'm hoping the next 18 months is a lot of exciting work. And she knows what I'm doing right now. I've got
Which
4
I've been
projects.
brutally honest about.
Yes, I've got 4 projects coming out in the next, 14 to 16 months, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
And both theatrical and on OTT, which is great.
Amazing.
And that brings me to the most essential thing, my favorite performance of hers, which I can never stop watching Jubilee. Jubilee is a fantastic performance. It's just old world in a way that old world, like, today, something that happened in the early 2000s is called retro. So it's really, we were the last generation that was tempted to go to black and white every time you told a flashback.
Yeah.
Right? And to be able to
2000
tell
is
that
retro.
flashback in color and to create that character that she did, Sumitra Kumari.
Yeah.
Sumitra Kumari, and to be able to stand next to Bombada and both of you just become those characters, it just blew me away.
Yeah.
And like I said, the recent performance of the last part of Hira Mandi, apart with all of Hira Mandi, because when SLB sir works with her, some insane alchemy is happening. Just like how Mani sir brings out the best in his heroines that way. He makes them go to places where they know ki hum wahan chale gaye.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of feeling that those kind of auteur directors give you. So yeah, and SLB and Motwani are teacher and student as well. So I think there is a certain place they take their performers, and I think she responded very beautifully to both those performances. And it's also not a coincidence that they were her last 2 major performances. So she's living the dream that I hope to live in a year and a half, where every subsequent film is better, if not in terms of final appraisal, but in terms of your honesty and your effort and your dedication that you put into your craft.
How lovely.
Thanks, Sidhu.
That's so lovely. Listen, this has been such fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've really enjoyed it.
Yes, and I was privy to the photo shoot you did before we started speaking. Let me tell you, you and the camera both love each other. And we should do a special conversation on that next time.
It's time to
I'll speak to
think.
Vidhu sir about it. I said, there needs to be some new ground broken here. We need to make this a marriage of 2 actors as well. Both of you should come into the different profession now.
Oh my God. Have you not seen him as the dead body in
He
Parinda?
was fantastic. He brought that dead body to life.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was
Thank you,
lovely.
ma'am.
Thank you.
It was a lot of
Really,
fun. Thank you.
genuinely
Yeah.
lovely. Thank you.